Hi, and welcome to Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Today we're going to be working on an engraving project using copper plating. We'll be talking about the difference between engraving and etching, and we'll be using a couple of different tools to help us. A wooden stylus, a piece of packing foam, and then our copper sheet, and a line drawing that you're going to create today. Let's get right to it. Copperplate engraving can be defined as the act of depressing letters, art, or designs into a sheet of copper. This is mainly used for the purpose of making a print, but can be seen as art on its own. That's what we will be using this as. Copperplate engraving originated at the time of Guttenberg. You remember the Guttenberg press, and is now being used as a fine art medium. This style of art is a part of the intaglio process of printmaking. This process will do a line drawing. You can see I have a 5" by 5" piece of scratch paper here. On the back, I'm going to put my name, date, and class. Let's review two different ideas we can use when creating a line drawing to help create shade or space. The first one is stippling. This is the art process of drawing, painting, or engraving using small dots or specks, and this can help us create an image that's really interesting without using too many straight lines. The second idea we're working with for our sketch are hash marks. These are small lines used to show three-dimensionality or shading. So again, we're talking about value, the lightness or darkness of a color. The closer those lines are together, the darker it's going to look. The subject I've chosen for my image is a pumpkin, so I'm going to use a straightforward section drawing, and in each section of the pumpkin, I'm adding different line styles. This is something we've worked with in the past, and it's just kind of stuck in my brain, so that's what I'm doing today. I can't wait to see what you do with your project. I don't want to see a bunch of pumpkins. As a 5th grader, I want you to try and come up with your own subject or your own twist on a subject. So if you do pumpkins, I'd love to see them your own way. Do you notice those X's in that center checkerboard part? I was just using that as a placeholder because I'm going to be shading those in when I get to the extra process. Finishing up with my top area to make sure it's all filled in. Once your image is completed, please bring it up to me to double check you've used all of the space on your drawing plate. Then I'll give you a small, thin sheet of metal, and on the back side, you're going to write your name, date, and class. Don't press too hard on this because it'll show through if you do. Okay, next we're going to sandwich together our project, putting the styrofoam on the bottom, the metal in the middle, and then my piece of paper on top. I'm going to take out my wooden stylus and go over every single thing that I've just done. You can see me coloring in those X spots. So I'm working side to side, making sure that I'm going over every single thing. To double check, I'm going to run my hand over the top to see if I can feel those textures all the way through. You don't want to move your paper around a lot or else it might shift on you. Take a look at how neat this looks with its full texture. The next tool we'll be using is this pizza and pastry roller. It's kind of like a briar, and I'm just using it to flatten out my image. And you can see I was pressing pretty hard with that wooden stylus to make all of those little marks, the engraving. I flip it over, give it a couple passes, and see how it looks. In the process of flattening out, I'm noticing that my moon and stars didn't show up very well, so I'm going to again put my metal over my little piece of foam and go over it with my wooden stylus. To make our image look finished, I'm going to add a piece of backing paper with my name on the bottom. To affix my engraving to its frame, I simply used rolled masking tape. I hope you've enjoyed this 5th grade level project of engraving. Let's take a quick look at what etching encompasses. When I think of etching, I like to think of these scratch boards. So etching is the subtraction of a layer of the piece of the art material. So you can see I'm actually scratching off a portion of the scratch board. So what's the main difference? Engraving, we're pushing down on something, and in etching, we're taking something away. So I'm scratching something off. This has been Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.